Hello, everyone, and welcome to Barca News. My name is Mo, and today we gotta talk about Spain's victory over France, 0-2, with goals of Oyar Sabal and Pedro Porro. And I know this is not Barcelona news, but I had to talk about this match because what we saw today was an absolute masterclass by the Spanish national team, an absolute tactical masterclass by Luis de la Fuente, and we saw total football in the World Cup. So I had to talk about it. Don't worry, I'm gonna be uploading a news video right after this, so you will get Barcelona news. But for this special live, I have to talk about Spain's victory because Spain, before the World Cup, was the favorite for me to win the World Cup. But once the World Cup began, I was like, yeah, I have some doubts. I don't know. I wasn't seeing a very exciting Spain, especially with the draw against Cape Verde. Then we saw how they struggle against, I think it was Uruguay, if I'm not mistaken, with that very lucky goal when Muslera lets the ball go. And even though they did defeat Portugal and Belgium, it still wasn't like this outstanding football that made me really fall in love with this team or anything like that. So my doubts began to creep, but today those doubts have completely been eliminated. And once again, I truly believe that Spain is favorite to win the World Cup because not only did Spain today eliminate the strongest team in all of the World Cup, France, which have been completely dominating this World Cup, destroying all their opponents, scoring goals left and right. They were just pretty much taking a walk in the park throughout this World Cup. So not only did Spain eliminate the strongest team in the World Cup, a team with Dembele, Mbappe, Doué, Olise, Barcola, Cherki, and the likes, but they did it with such ease. One thing is to beat the strongest team in the World Cup with the craziest attack, and a whole nother thing to do it the way Spain did it, which was with total ease. Spain made it look like a piece of cake. Spain made it look like a walk in the park. They made it look so easy, like they were playing against a high school team. Today was an absolute masterclass by Spain, by Luis de la Fuente, and everybody involved in this victory. Today we saw total football, and total football won today. Now we got to talk about, of course, the tactical mistakes that France did, which helped, of course, with this victory, because what this match made it very clear for me, and it's the reason why Spain had struggled against previous teams like Cape Verde, like Belgium, like Portugal, that those teams at some point, they kind of retreated and defended. Not to say park the bus completely, but they definitely stepped back and defended for very big stretches of the match. And of course, that becomes a little bit more difficult for teams like Spain, who like to maintain possession of the ball. But today, France didn't do that, right? And I don't know if that was an error or maybe it was the right call, but France decided to play head-to-head against Spain. They came out with 4 attackers and only 2 midfielders, and a big mistake by Deschamps. And, well, they paid the price for it because Spain completely dominated France. They won the midfield easily. And, well, today was a big lesson for Deschamps. And, well, a reminder how important midfields are, because if you win the midfield, you win the match, ladies and gentlemen. If you win the midfield, you win the match. And Deschamps should have known that, coming out with 4 attackers and only 2 midfielders, because today Spain's midfield was an absolute masterpiece. Rodri, my goodness, what a World Cup he's having. We're going to talk about it. And of course, Dani Olmo also, what a World Cup he's having. I need to ask of Dani Olmo a favor of Dani Olmo. When he plays for Barcelona, he needs to play with the Spain's jersey on, because the Dani Olmo from Spain is one of the best attacking midfielders in the entire world. When he plays with Barca, it's a whole different story. A lot of hot and cold, but I'm not here to criticize Barcelona's Dani Olmo. I'm here to praise Spain's Dani Olmo, because what a World Cup he's having and what a match he's having. But I'll talk about individual players in a little bit. But total domination by Spain, who, of course, needed that early goal, right? They needed that early goal because we know Spain is a kind of team that likes to maintain possession of the ball. They're a team that defends by maintaining possession of the ball because when you have the ball, well, the other team cannot create any damage, right? The other team cannot attack you if they don't have the ball. And while Spain needed that early goal, so once that goal was scored, they could dictate how the match would go by maintaining possession of the ball, by making the opposing team chase the ball, by tire them out, by getting them desperate to catch the ball. And that's exactly what happened. Spain got that early goal at the 20th minute where Lamine Yamal sees Digne trying to control the ball. He reads the play perfectly. He anticipates the play perfectly. He sneaks up on Digne, who had no idea that Lamine Yamal was anticipating and that he was about to steal the ball from him, and ends up kicking the crap out of him. Penalty for Spain. Oyarzabal, great execution. France's goalkeeper guesses the right side, but when you execute a penalty kick well, there's nothing a goalkeeper can do, even if they guess it. Spain gets their early goal, and from there, it was over. The match was over at the 20th minute because now Spain, with the lead, all they had to focus on is maintaining possession of the ball, make France chase it, get France tired, get France desperate, and that's exactly what happened. France had no response to what Spain was doing on the field, even though Deschamps tried to make up for his earlier error, which is starting 4 attackers and only 2 midfielders. And of course, he did bring in more reinforcements for the midfield, but by then it was too late. Spain had won the midfield. Spain had dominated. Of course, they scored that second goal with a beautiful 1-2 play. Pedro Porro gives it to Dani Olmo, and Dani Olmo, with the quickness, he returns the ball so quickly. Not only does that require great vision, accurate passing, but that requires also such fast thinking. And Dani Olmo was so quick to return that pass to Pedro Porro that even though he was fouled, it didn't matter. The pass made it through to Pedro Porro, and Pedro Porro 1v1 against the goalkeeper keeper buries it. And that, of course, were not the only chances. Spain had other chances which were highlighting their total dominance and their quick play once through the wings. Of course, Lamine Yamal did score a goal, but unfortunately, it was ruled offside. That's such a shame because it was a beautiful goal. It would have been beautiful to that would have counted. But Spain win. Easy peasy for Spain. And I think we can confidently say Spain is the father of France. Spain owns France. And Lamine Yamal, ladies and gentlemen, is the father of Mbappe. He owns Kylian Mbappe. I can say that confidently, not as a Barca fan, not as a Lamine fan, but as an objective football fan. Because if you didn't watch today's match and think, yeah, Spain owns France, then you were watching a different match. And not only this match, 2024 semifinal of the Euros, Spain versus France. Spain wins, goes to the final, becomes Euro champions. 2025, again, Spain versus France in the semifinal, this time of the Nations League. Spain wins, goes on to the final. Eventually, they lose to Portugal. 2026, another semifinal, this time in the World Cup. Spain versus France. Once again, Spain defeats France and is through the final. 3 semifinals back-to-back in 3 different tournaments in 3 back-to-back years, all won by Spain. Spain is France's daddy. France, I'm sorry, but Spain owns you. And as far as Lamine Yamal versus Mbappe, what can I say? I mean, they have met, let me think. If I'm doing this math correctly, 12 times? Has it been 12 times? I think it's 12 times, if I'm doing the math correctly. Correct me if I'm wrong, but they met 4 times last season in the Clásico, right? Barca versus Madrid. All 4 times won by Barca/Lamine. This past season, I guess I'm talking about Flick's first season. This past season, I keep forgetting that this season already ended. This past season, 3 El Clásico matches, 2 victories by Barca/Lamine, 1 for Mbappe. So that's 7 right there, 7 times that they've met. 3 semifinals, all won by Lamine/Spain. And then, of course, there were 2 matches where it was Barcelona versus PSG, one that was won by Mbappe and one that was won by Barcelona/Lamine. So we're talking about 12 times, 2 with PSG, 7 with Barcelona, 3 with Spain. And out of those 12 times, 10 times has Lamine won, and only 2 times has Mbappe won. So, ladies and gentlemen, just like Spain owns France, Lamine Yamal owns Mbappe. And Mbappe needs to send a card to Lamine Yamal wishing him a belated happy Father's Day because, of course, it was last month. So Mbappe needs to wish Lamine Yamal a happy Father's Day. Now, let's compare numbers real quick. I came across these numbers because, Madridistas love to compare Lamine Yamal, an 18-year-old kid. He just turned 19, to Mbappe, who, of course, is, 26 years old in his prime. But if you got to do comparisons, you have to do it the correct way. And you have to compare what Lamine Yamal has achieved up to this point at 19 and what Mbappe had achieved when he up until the same age, which when he was 18. So let's look at what Mbappe had achieved by the time he was Lamine Yamal's age. Now, Lamine Yamal at 19 years old, he has completed 182 matches to Kylian Mbappe's 90 matches. Lamine Yamal has played double the amount of matches at the same age as Mbappe when he was 19, right? In those matches, Lamine Yamal scored 56 goals to Mbappe's 39 and provided 64 assists to Mbappe's 29. In total, Lamine Yamal has had 120 goal contributions between goals and assists, 120 to Mbappe's 68. Double, ladies and gentlemen. Lamine Yamal at 19 years old has double the goal contributions that Mbappe had at 19 years old. So, Kylian, please do not forget to send Lamine Yamal a card wishing him a happy belated Father's Day, because just like how Spain owns France, well, Lamine Yamal owns Kylian Mbappe. But anyways, let's look at the lineups real quick because I do want to talk about individual players. And don't worry, I will be reading the comment section. I see the chat section is blowing up, and I love it. Woo the fool, you are crazy, my friend. You are making so many donations. I truly, truly appreciate it. But don't worry. I'm gonna be reading them. But let's look real quick at the lineups because, again, this is where Deschamps really made his mistake of going with 4 attackers and only 2 midfielders against Spain that we knew they had the best midfield in the World Cup, or one of the best midfields in the World Cup. And of course, knowing that if you win the midfield, you win the match. But let's look at this lineup because, of course, I can never say his name, but in the goal, Jules Koundé and Digne as the 2 fullbacks, Saliba and Upamecano as the 2 center backs. Here we have Rabiot and Tchouaméni as in the midfield, the only 2 midfielders. And of course, 4 attackers with Mbappe, Olise, Dembélé, and Barcola. Barcola replaced Doué. I did not understand that substitution. And of course, Tchouaméni replacing Koné. Koné, who was having a wonderful World Cup, he gets replaced by Tchouaméni. So not only does Deschamps make a huge mistake putting 4 attackers with only 2 midfielders against Spain that we know likes to maintain possession of the ball, but he puts Tchouaméni in the place of Koné, who was having a great World Cup, and then puts in Barcola for Doué. I did not understand those substitutions whatsoever. And then, of course, if you look at Spain, Unai Simon on goal, Pau Cubarsí and Laporte, to me, the best center back duo in the entire World Cup. Pedro Porro, who had a phenomenal match. Cucurella, who also had a really good match. Rodri and Fabian Ruiz. And look, here's the difference, right? Here's the difference. And it pains me to say this. But Pedri, to me, the best midfielder in the world, he's not having a World Cup. And Luis de la Fuente saw that, and he had the balls of taking out the best midfielder in the world and put in Fabian Ruiz because he saw something that wasn't working, and he replaced it. And that takes a lot of balls to do that because you're not taking out any other midfielder. You're taking out the best midfielder in the world and putting Fabian Ruiz in his place. Meanwhile, Deschamps did the total opposite. He saw Koné having a great World Cup, and he said, hey, let me put in Tchouaméni, the boxer. That makes sense, right? Then, of course, Lamine Yamal, Alex Baena on the left. Alex Baena is not really convincing me this World Cup, but, I mean, he is playing out of position. He is a midfielder. He's playing as a left winger because, of course, Nico Williams is not 100%. Dani Olmo with the assist. Phenomenal World Cup. phenomenal match. And of course, Oyarzabal with a one goal from the penalty. He already has 5 goals. He has matched David Villa's 5 goals from the 2010 World Cup. Now, players that I want to talk about. Cubarsí. Cubarsí is the best center back this World Cup. I'm not saying this as a Barca fan. I'm saying this as an objective football fan. The World Cup that Pau Cubarsí is having is absolutely insane. He's only 19 years old, and this guy is playing like it's his 4th or 5th World Cup. I mean, his composure on and off the ball needs to be studied by other players, because the way Cubarsí anticipates plays, the way he attacks the empty space, or I guess defends the empty space, anticipates, sees the holes in the field and don't immediately fills them, anticipating passes or runs into that space. The way he plays 1v1 against some of the best attackers in the world. He completely shut down France's attack. Of course, Laporte did great too, but Cubarsí, man, this World Cup that he's having is absolutely phenomenal. Lamine Yamal, he might have not been the best player on the field today, but he was definitely important today. And today we saw him again try and consistently dribble. He did lose the ball at all, but that's one thing that you have to give props to Lamine Yamal, because he never gives up, right? He tries to dribble. If it doesn't work, he tries it again. He tries it again and tries it again. And that, even when it doesn't work, that still helps his teammates, because as long as he's trying, as long as he has the ball, that's always going to draw 2 or 3 defenders to try to stop him, which, of course, it leaves other players open. And he might not score or provide an assist, but if he could get that pass out to one of those players that are left by themselves, that helps the team a lot. And that's exactly what he was doing today. Not to mention, he is the reason why Spain were able to get that early penalty. And with that early penalty kick, that pretty much left Spain to dominate the match, because with that extra goal, well, they could just focus on maintaining possession and just getting France to chase the ball. Dani Olmo, as I said, he's having a phenomenal World Cup. His assist today was absolutely brilliant. But then the player that I really, really want to talk about is Rodri, because Rodri not only had a spectacular match today, but he's having also a spectacular World Cup. And if there's anyone who doubted why Rodri beat out Vinicius Jr. for the Ballon d'Or, today was a reminder of why. Because a big part of why Spain was so dominant today, and a big part why Spain is able to do what they're able to do with the ball possession, is thanks to Rodri. Because Rodri not only dictates the tempo of his team, he dictates the tempo of the whole match. He dictates how the match is played. He dictates how when his team attacks, when his team defends, but he also dictates when the other team also attacks and when the other team defends. I mean, this guy is a master puppeteer. He controls the tempo of that entire match. He knows when to attack. He knows when to stop. He knows when to hold the ball and pause. He knows when to make the short passes versus the long passes. Not to mention, defensively speaking, he's also a beast. But what Rodri is doing for Spain in the midfield is out of this world, and it's a reminder why he was able to beat Vinicius Jr. for the Ballon d'Or, because Rodri for Man City is a lot better than what Vinicius provides for Madrid. Rodri for Spain is a lot more important, again, than what Vinicius is to Real Madrid, because Rodri is the brain and the engine of the operation. Without him, there is no team. Without him, there is no possession, there's no attack, there's nothing. Vinicius, yeah, he scores a lot of goals for Madrid. But if he's not scoring, there's other players who can score as well. What Rodri can do, no one else on the team can do. What Vinicius does for Madrid, don't get me wrong, phenomenal player, other players could do. And that's why Rodri beat him for the Ballon d'Or 2 or 3 years ago. 2 or 3 years ago? I can't remember when. And this is why today we're reminded of why that is. By a phenomenal match by Rodri and phenomenal match by Olmo, by Cubarsí. My God, today's Spain's team made me fall in love in football once again. And, of course, reminded me of our glory days, with Barcelona. Maybe not tiki-taka, but definitely the way Spain just dominated the match. It just did whatever the hell they wanted. Now, the funny thing is Spain is kind of repeating history here. And what do I mean by that? 2000, right? Spain has only been to two finals in their whole history. The first one, of course, 2010, South Africa. They made it to the final. They won the World Cup. Now they're making it to a second final. But what do I mean by repeating history? Spain did not start the 2010 World Cup in the best of ways. In fact, they started their first match losing against Switzerland 0-1. And after that, they had a road where it was kind of like, it wasn't bad, but it wasn't that great either. They were winning just by like 1 goal differences. And then they make it to the semifinal. And they face off against Germany, who at the time were the strongest team in the World Cup. They were a team that was just scoring goals left and right, completely demolishing their opponents, winning their matches easily, just breezing through the World Cup. And then Spain faces them in the semifinal. They knock them out. They make it to the final, and they end up winning the World Cup. In this World Cup, we're seeing some of that as well. Spain didn't start the World Cup on the best of terms, right? They start drawing against Cape Verde. And from there, yeah, they've won. It hasn't been bad performances, but it also hasn't been exhilarating performances. And then they arrive in the semifinal, and boom, they face off against France, the most dangerous team in this World Cup. They knock them out, and now they're in the final as well. Of course, we're gonna have to wait and see who will be meeting them in the final. Of course, tomorrow is Argentina versus England. I'm very excited for that game as well. If Argentina are through, of course, we're gonna see Lamine Yamal versus Messi, right? The present versus the future. Argentina versus Spain. I think that would be, for me, that would be the perfect final, because no matter who wins, I would be happy, right? If Argentina wins, great. I get to see the GOAT lift the second World Cup. And if Spain wins, then great. I get to see Lamine Yamal, Dani Olmo, Pau Cubarsí, and the rest of Barcelona players lift the World Cup as well. So either way, it would be a win. But of course, I'm getting ahead of myself. We first have to wait for tomorrow's match between Argentina and England. But anyways, that's all I had to say. I had to make a live about this because what we saw today was a master class. And of course, I want to hear you guys' opinions about today's match. So let me know down below in the chat section or in the comment section if you're watching this once it ends. Let's see. Raul says technically over PMP every day of the week. Wait, what are we talking about? What are we talking about? By the way, Raul, thank you so much for your donation, my friend. What is PMP? Am I missing something? I feel dumb. But anyways, if you can clarify, I'll be more than happy to read your comment, or maybe the chat can help me out. But thank you so much, my friend, for your donation. That's incredibly generous of you. And then we gotta look at the Woo the Fool, who's going crazy. Who's going crazy? I love it. I love it. Thank you so much, my friend. You're incredibly generous. I mean, we got what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 donate. You are crazy, my friend. You are crazy. Thank you so much for the 5 donations. I truly appreciate it. But let's start with the first comment. Woo the Fool says, "Hey Mo, long time. I just want to say something quick to see your thoughts. See how Spain played today. Cubarsí, everyone seeing his class." Yes. Not only was Cubarsí imperial today, he has been imperial the whole World Cup. And here's the crazy thing about Cubarsí is that not many people are talking about it. Like when you watch the news, you hear about, oh, Lamine did great, or oh, Lamine did bad, or oh, Oyarzabal, look at all the goals he's scoring, or but you don't really hear that much about Cubarsí, which is a shame because he, to me, and I say this as an objective football fan, maybe there's some bias in there subconsciously, but to me, he's been the best center back in the entire World Cup. And I think after today, people are gonna see it, because the way we're talking about France, man, who had Mbappe. I know I've said this before, but I gotta say it again because you have to mention it. They had Mbappe, Dembele, Doué, Olise, Barcola, and Cubarsí stopped all of them with no problem. You know how difficult that is, an 18-year-old stopping the most lethal attack in the entire World Cup. Now, of course, Laporte has also been excellent. I'm not trying to take credit away from Laporte, but we got to talk about Cubarsí because he's only 19 years old. It's his first World Cup, and this guy's playing like it's his 5th. I mean, it's insane. His composure. I mean, The way he's just masterclass, man. Just masterclass after masterclass. Pau Garcia. And to think that Madridistas tried to compare Asensio, that obviously lasted 2 seconds. And then they were like, okay, no, it's not Asensio. It's Hoyson. Hoyson is better. Where is Hoyson? Guy didn't even get called up. It's crazy. It's crazy to me. By the way, that insane foul on Rodri. I don't know if you guys seen the images. Studs out above the ankle. That should have been a red, at least a yellow. Nothing. Terrible refereeing, by the way. And if this was Argentina, okay, if this was during the Argentina match, we would be seeing millions of tweets and reels and TikToks and shorts and videos and the press going nuts. FIFA corrupt. They want Argentina to win. But because it happened, in a match that doesn't concern Argentina, well, nobody cares, right? Nobody bats an eye. Another thing, everybody talking about, FIFA being corrupt and, making it easy for Argentina. Has anyone seen the path that France had to these semifinals? Sweden, Morocco. Who did they have? Paraguay. I mean, nobody's claiming corruption there. But anyways, that's not the hero there. Let's look at the other comment by Wu the Fool, who says, when Barca plays without the ball, we only play one way with our high line that give our CBs disadvantage. Today, no high line. See how these CBs balling. Well, here's the thing. The reason why our CBs struggle when we play with our high line is because we've had problems with our attackers not pressing. Right? For the high line to work, everybody needs to press. And not only does everybody need to press, everybody needs to do it as a team, right? Because if the opposing player gets the ball and I go to press him, but my teammate reacts late or doesn't press, well, the guy that my teammate was marking, he's wide open. So now the ball's going to go to him. And now my teammate is like, oh, crap, let me go press. Well, too late, right? And the same thing, right? It's a chain. If someone doesn't press or someone is late to their press, to press in their man, then they're leaving that man open. And that man is going to get the ball. So for the high line to work, everybody has to press and everybody has to do it in unison, where every player is pressed. So the guy with the ball, he's getting pressed, right, by whomever. Let's say it's a right back, and there is Rafinha pressing him. If everyone else is pressing, that right back with the ball, he sees Rafinha coming at him. He's going to look around to try to get rid of the ball. Oh, guess what? All of Barca is pressing, so all of his teammates are marked. So now he has no pass. So he's either going to have to try to dribble, or something. And in that something, then he might lose the ball. And then the danger is done, right? But when someone doesn't press or someone presses late and it leaves a man open, that leaves the other team to be able to get that pass quickly to the backs of our center backs, which leaves them struggling. So that's the problem. And this is why we see the signings that Barcelona have done, right? Adeyemi, Anthony Gordon, Julian Alvarez is the goal, right? These are players who press a lot. And if they do their job in the press, well, our CBs will be able to ball as well. And another donation by Wu the Fool, who says, wait, hold on. I don't know why it wasn't popping up on the screen. See how these CBs balling. Also, Laporte is there. Why we not getting him? See how everyone is in cohesion when there's ebb and flow. So we have our own Laporte, and his name is Eric Garcia. In fact, I remember clearly, I think this was under the Xavi era. Yeah, it must have been under the Xavi era, when a lot of people were hating on Eric Garcia and wanted him out, and they're calling him trash and blah, blah, blah. I remember saying here on the channel, and I said, Eric Garcia is the next Laporte, because Laporte, when he was coming up, he wasn't this great CB that looked very promising. He was someone that didn't really start shining until in his 20s. And that was Eddie Garcia. Like coming up, everybody called him trash and they wanted to get rid of him. And then it wasn't until later in his career, in his 20s, where he actually shows us what he's capable of. I guess matured a little bit later than the rest, but just like Laporte, that once he did reach that level of maturity, his game flourished, and the same thing with Eric, right? Once he reached that maturity, he flourished, and we've seen it under Flick. And not only have we seen it under Flick, but we've seen it in so many positions, right? Whenever whether Eddie Garcia plays as a right back or as a center back or he plays as a defensive midfielder, he shines. So we don't need to get Laporte. We have our own Laporte, and his name is Eric Garcia. And let's see. With the Fool says the ebb and flow also helps players like Olmo up front rather than rigid style with Flick system. I wouldn't say that Flick system is rigid because if you notice, Lamine Yamal is afforded a lot of freedom to do what he wants on the right wing, right? A rigid system would be more like, let me think, more like the Bayern, right? Or really any German style. The Germans are very rigid in that way. And I know it sounds weird because Flick is also German, but a rigid system is more like quick, 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 pass, 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 pass. Like tun, 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 like a ping ball, right? That's a rigid system. And Flick system wouldn't call it a rigid system because we see Lamine Yamal afforded a lot of freedom on the right wing to dribble, to run with the ball. In a rigid system, that would never be allowed, right? In the rigid system, the goal is to get rid of the ball as fast as possible. As soon as I get it, boom, I'm letting it out for another teammate. And as soon as he gets it, boom, to the next and next and next until you're in the box of the opposing team. Also, we see that Rafinha, sorry, my dog is going crazy on himself. Not Rafinha, sorry, Fermin Lopez, for example, or even Dani Olmo sometimes, they get afforded a lot of freedom with running behind the front three. Sometimes we'll see either Fermin or Olmo, whoever's attacking, playing as an attacking midfielder, coming through the left, sometimes through the right, sometimes through the middle. We see Pedri making those runs from the second line. We also see inversions a lot of time. For example, when Gabi plays, we'll see Gabi attacking as a, or actually we saw in one match, we saw all three play, Fermin, Dani Olmo, and Gabi, with Gabi situated as a left winger, Dani Olmo as a double pivot next to Pedri, or was it next to Frankie? I can't remember. And then it was Fermin Lopez as the attacking mid, and we saw the three consistently switch. Like we would see Gabi drop through the middle, and then Fermin go around him through the left. Sometimes we would see Olmo go through the middle with Fermin and Gabi opening up, kind of like wingers. So I wouldn't call that a rigid system because we see a lot of interchange between positions. And in fact, this is why I suspect Hansi Flick has signed Adeyemi, Gordon, and wants Julian Alvarez, because what do these three players all have in common? That they all can play in all front three positions. They can all play as right wingers, left wingers, and as center forwards. So why do I suspect Flick is doing this, aside from the fact that these players can press, is because he probably wants to build an attack where players do exactly that. What we saw Gabi, Fermin, and Olmo do in some matches where they were consistently switching positions every attack. I think that's what Flick is trying to do with our front three. Have them consistently switch. Maybe in one play, Gordon goes through the left and Adeyemi goes through the right with Julian through the middle, and then they switch with Adeyemi going through the middle, maybe Julian through the right and Gordon through. You get the picture. So I wouldn't call Hansi Flick's system a rigid system. And with a full says, that's my issue. Yes, we've won the league, his style, but when it comes to knockout games, need to be flexible, but Flick doesn't do that. I mean, what do you mean by flexible, right? Because I don't think De La Fuente has been flexible. I think he's used the same system all throughout the World Cup. Of course, in this game, we saw it work a lot better because France decided to go head-to-head with Spain, right? Versus Portugal, Cape Verde, Belgium. They all defended for large portions of the match. And, when you have a team that's defending with a low block, it becomes tough, period. Versus France, going head-to-head with Spain, not defending, not parking the bus, not being compact or defending with a low block, they got exposed, and we were able to see the system of De La Fuente work a lot better. Which, up until this match, I hadn't been able to see it. And that's why at times I said I'm not convinced. But now that I saw it, I'm like, okay, that makes sense now. I see what De La Fuente was trying to do with these players. And now I can track back and think, oh, okay, that makes sense now why it didn't work or didn't work as well in previous matches because there wasn't space. There was no space to do it, right? But thank you, my friend, for all your donations. Incredibly generous from of you. Really appreciate it. And then we'll have another donation. This one is from Sanjog, who says, Kudos de la Fuente. It felt like Barca under Flick in terms of pressing and attack without the suicide highline. Also, Cucurella will be a problem. Yes, 100%. Kudos to Luis de la Fuente. I know I called him a terrible coach on his channel here before. De la Fuente, my friend, I apologize. What you did today was an absolute tactical masterclass over Deschamps. Just like I said, Spain is the father of France and Lamine is the father of Mbappe. I think we can confidently say that De La Fuente is the father of Deschamps because all three semifinals, they were all managed by, it was De La Fuente versus Deschamps, and all three were won by De La Fuente. So amazing job for De La Fuente. And I take back what I said. I'm the idiot here, not you. Yeah, amazing work. What a match. What a match. And Cucurella, yeah, I agree. Cucurella, Cucurella's been having a good World Cup. And let's hope he's not a problem with Madrid. Because technically, Mbappe has been a problem this whole World Cup, right? And with Madrid, given how fractured that team is, given the lack of ideas and system, he hasn't really been a problem for us, right? We've beat him 6 out of 7 times already. So let's hope that Madrid being the mess that they are, that Korea is not a problem for us. But I mean, here's the thing. With Madrid, they still have a big problem with their midfield, right? They're lacking control in their midfield, right? Their team is fractured. It's like you have the defense who are absolute mess, and their attack who are all divas and they don't talk to each other, and then nothing to link the two of them, right? Ever since Kroos left, and then before him Modric, and it was like there's no playmakers, there's no creative midfielders, no one to hold the midfield, no one to push forward either, and organize attacks. So it's kind of like they're a mess. But yeah, let's hope Cucurella is not a problem. Let's see. Java the Hut says this has to be the biggest upset in international football history. I can't think of anything that tops it. I don't think it was an upset though. I actually bet on Spain, not on real life. I think I told you about guys this. I played this zombie game, and within the game you can bet game money, not real money, game money on matches. And then obviously you double or triple or quadruple your bet with game money that you can then spend on upgrades and stuff inside the game. But I had bet on Spain because I don't think I wouldn't say the biggest upset in international football, because let's not forget, this is the third semifinal in a row that these two teams have faced, that they have played against each other. And Spain has won all three, right? They beat them. Spain beat France 5-4 just last year in a Nations League semifinal. And the only reason it ended up 5-4 is because of De La Fuente's terrible substitutions, because they were up 5-1. And then De La Fuente takes out a lot of his key players, and all of a sudden France just comes back swinging, and they almost tie the match. It ends up 5-4. But, I mean, Spain scored 5 goals just last summer. And before that, of course, Spain beat France in the Euros semifinal. Remember that goal by Lamine Yamal, where Rabiot had been running his mouth, and then Lamine Yamal just right in front of him scores that banger from outside the box. So I wouldn't call it the biggest upset in international history, because Spain had already beat France twice in a row in 2 semifinals in a row. But I definitely expected more of a fight from France. I did not expect Spain to win this easily. Like I thought they could win, but I didn't think they would do it with such ease. I mean, my God, it was a walk in the park for Spain. And Edwink says, just picked up my blood pressure medication for tomorrow's game. It will be a thriller. Take extra. Don't get replaced as Peru es clave mo. Amen, my friend. Peru is password. You guys won't get it. You guys won't get it. I can't translate that. But yes. Joe Alloy says, big up Mo. Pau Cubarsí is the best defender in the World Cup, hands down. 100% agree with you. Let's see. Bena Bode says, Oli says better than Lamine until they meet. Mo, tell that for me. Yo, did Olise play? Because I saw his name in the lineup, but I don't think I saw him in the field. Like the guy was just ghost. And I think it also had to do with Deschamps playing him behind Mbappe. And it's like Deschamps did the weirdest decisions today. From choosing 4 attackers with 2 midfielders against Spain that likes to maintain possession and likes to win the midfield, to put in Chouameni in the place of Kone, to put in Barcola in the place of Doué, and to put in Olise behind Mbappe, even though Olise is better on the wing. I did not understand anything Deschamps did today. If anyone can shed some lights, I'm all ears. So please, let me know. All basketball TV says Spain versus Argentina final. Barcelona fans win-win situation. Absolutely, I agree. That would be the perfect final for me because if Argentina wins, great. Messi lifts a second trophy. If Spain wins, great. Lamine Yamal gets to lift his first World Cup. It's a win-win for me. I gotta give me a Spain kit. I've been wanting to get the away kit. I think their away kit is absolutely fuego, fire. I want it. I gotta get it. But yeah. Let's see what else. Isaac says, I really want Yamal to win the trophy, but then again, want Messi too to make it a wrap for the GOAT debate for the fan base. For the neutral and GOAT fans is done and dusted. You know that the funny thing about is if Messi doesn't uplift in a second World Cup is he has scored 8 goals so far, right? And we don't know if that tally is gonna increase tomorrow and maybe even more in the final if he makes it to the final and ends up winning the World Cup, right? And it'd be hilarious because Messi won the World Cup in 2022, and of course for the next 4 years, the Penaldo fan base has been just reeling, right? And the only consolation or the only thing they can tell themselves to try to cope with that was that it was rigged because Argentina had 4 or 5 penalties, right? So for Messi then to win it, having scored so far 8 goals, 0 penalties, that would be hilarious. It's kind of like, all right, you said it was rigged, the other one was rigged because he had a bunch of penalties. How about now when he has no penalties? But even if he doesn't win it, I mean, you want to say it's rigged because he had penalties and then he comes back and now he scores 8 goals so far. We don't know if he's going to score any tomorrow. 8 goals so far, 0 penalties. It's like I said before, they keep changing the post. They keep moving the posts. And eventually they're just going to run out. I thought they would run out by now from it was like, Ronaldo's the best because he has more Ballon d'Ors. Boom, Messi wins more Ballon d'Ors. Okay, no. Ballon d'Or is rigged. It's Golden Boots because Golden Boots is based on goals. There's no voting. There's no rigging there. So Penaldo's the best because he has more Golden Boots. Boom, Messi wins more. Okay, no. Penaldo's best because he's won more trophies at different clubs. And Messi has only been at Barca. Boom, Messi leaves, wins at PSG, wins at Inter. Okay, that argument doesn't hold anymore. Okay, Penaldo is the best because he won a trophy with Portugal. Messi goes and wins the Copa America. Oh, no. Penaldo's still the best because the Euros is more difficult than the World Cup. Boom. Messi wins the World Cup. Now, it's just a 7-game match. Or it's rigged because, because he had penalties. He comes back and scores 8 goals, 0 penalties. It's like they keep moving the posts. It's like at some point you have to realize it's like, guys, you lost a long time ago. There was actually never a debate to begin with. This was a manufactured debate by Madridistas who couldn't handle the fact that Barcelona had the best play in the world, so they had to push their agenda that Penaldo was better. It's their inferiority complex. Just like they've been trying to push the debate that, Asensio is better than Cubarsí. No, Huijsen's better than Cubarsí. No, Mastantuono is better than Pedri. No, Guller is better than Pedri. It's like everything they try to compare, they end up losing. That's an inferiority complex. That is an inferiority complex, ladies and gentlemen. Vizca Barça, Vizca Culé says if Messi wins the World Cup and comes out as a Golden Boot winner in the World Cup, does he have a possibility for the Ballon d'Or? Maybe. Maybe. Let's see. AG says, Pau playing with an experienced defender, Inigo, and now Laporte. It's like there is no weakness in his game. Agreed, my friend. And Barca Reloaded says, I don't care what nobody says. Lamine Yamal's goal was legit. That was never an offside. It was. You can see it before they show you the animation that he's when he's running, like their legs, I think they're on the same line. But if you look at the still image before they show the little, because I don't fully trust the little animation because the computer could get it wrong. And also as we've seen before, like with Lewandowski and his huge foot. And even the animation, I mean, it could be manipulated. Not that I think they would, but in the still image, you could see, I think their legs are in the same line, but you can see because Lamine Yamal is exploding forward, his torso is ahead of the defender. Don't Get Replaced says, Covarci just added another 20 mil to his transfer fee after this World Cup. Not that will ever sell him. Yeah, this kind of performance, my goodness. And Barca Baba, let's go. She said, I've not picked the correct winner in my bracket 4 times. This game was not one of them. If Argentina win tomorrow, my final is correct. Too bad I didn't put money on it. Nice. Good job. So, like I said, I bet in my game. And like, I think a few days ago, my game said that I had so far guessed 50 games correctly. So that was pretty good. I don't know where I'm at now, but this was, I think, last week. It had said that I had guessed 50 games correctly. Not bad. Not bad. And Sajok with the donation. Sajok says Spain played against the best attack in the world. This was almost PSG's attack versus Barca's attack in the Champions League. We can definitely learn from this match. True, 100%. Knowing Flick, I'm sure he's going to watch this tape and be like, let me see. Right? But yeah, you have a great point. And thank you. Thank you for your donation. And then let's do one last comment, and then we'll end this. But Jason says, Pau, Paquet, Penaldo, Olise, Kylian Mbappe, Dembele, and Doué. Pau Cubarsí has pocketed everyone he's come against. It's insane that he's only 19. Remember, players don't reach their prime until like 25, 26, which means from here until 25, 26, Pau Cubarsí is only going to keep getting better and better and better and better and better. And if he's that good right now, when he's 7 years away from his prime, can you imagine what he's going to be like in his prime after 7 years of getting better, after 7 years of gaining experience, after 7 years of making mistakes and learning from them? Can you imagine? Sheesh. This generation is insane. We thought we were never going to see anything like the Messi, Iniesta, Xavi generation. And then Navasia says, hold my beer or hold my sangria. Here is Lamine. Here is Bernal. Here is Cubarsí. And behind him, there's even more, right? Tunkara, amongst others. But anyways, that's all. That is all. I had to make this live. I think what we saw today was phenomenal. Don't worry, I'm posting a news video right after this. There is Barcelona news. But thank you guys for tuning in to this unplanned live. I know it's Tuesday. I don't usually do lives on Tuesday, but we had to talk about today's match, especially because it's Spain, right? 8 Barcelona players on it, so we had to talk about it. But thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you for all your donations. You guys are incredibly generous. Thank you for all your support. Hit the like button. It really helps the channel. And drop a comment letting me know your opinions of what you saw today. And then finally, if you're not subscribed yet, what the hell are you waiting for? Subscribe. Anyways, I'll see you guys in a news video. And as always, be scarce.